All-Star weekend is over. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown looked good and walked out under their own power. So big win for Boston. Tatum meets Bird. Jaylen's in the dunk contest and did okay. I'll talk about it all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here in the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I got you covered every single day, Monday through Friday, plus bonus podcasts on the weekends when they play, like when they play the New York Knicks on Saturday night. I will be in New York for that one, so subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you're an everydayer. Join me every day for the best, the number one Boston Celtics podcast on the planet. Watch the show on YouTube. And get into the conversation. The comment section on YouTube is always popping. I'm John Karalis. Used to play a long time ago. Now I'm covering the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. Today it's an all-star edition of the Locked On Celtics podcast. Later on, we'll save the Jaylen Brown dunk contest stuff for later. We're going to start with, I'll get to the Jayson Tatum meeting Larry Bird stuff in just a minute, because you'll hear Tatum's reaction. And I'll tell you what, Tatum's reaction, this is the best part about it, is kind of like what my reaction would be, or your reaction would be, muted for, it's like adjusted for he's a superstar in the NBA, and but look, you can tell, you'll hear it. You'll hear it in his voice. But let's just start with the All-Star game. The All-Star quote unquote game, where I think the game after the game is NBA writers talking about how crappy the game was. And look, the final score was 211 to 186. That did not go as well as people had hoped. Last year, Jaylen Brown was kind of pissed because he said that wasn't basketball, right? Last year's game was a complete joke, and Tatum scored 1 million points and he got the MVP. So Jaylen was asked this year about it. I said, you said it wasn't basketball. What about this year? Were there some discussions about playing harder? He said, yeah, there were some discussions. There were definitely some. I'm not sure how successful that was, but there were definitely some discussions. I guess guys are trying to figure out how to do that at the same time as having fun, being safe, being injury-free. I guess more solutions need to be had to figure that out. So Jaylen's like, yeah, we did talk about it, but no one really did anything about it. The All-Star game, look, I don't know what the solution is, right? I have a thought, and I'm writing it for Boston Sports Journal, and I tweeted it out and all of that. But I like the idea of my quick solution is to have, let me just, I'm having some trouble on the video side. You just saw my video just do all kinds of weird stuff. On the audio side, you're like, yeah, John, keep talking. My solution is take the Rising Stars format and you do a tournament style. Expand the roster to 14 on each side. So you get 2 more spots, which is something I'm looking for anyway. So you at least get a couple more guys in. 4 teams of 7. The top 2 vote getters in each conference are captains of their own team. You pick 4 teams of 7, and the 4 teams kind of square off a tournament style. 2 teams on one side, 2 teams on the other, and it's like East-West, East-West, and you could have an East versus East final, an East versus West final, West versus West, who knows? You play to a target score in the first game, you play to a target score in the second game, and it's not just like, I think if you do a tournament style, maybe guys will care a little bit, because it's not a full game. You just play to first team to 40, right? And then first team to 50 or whatever. So you're basically playing 3 games, which would equal, enough of an all-star game. And you'd get maybe some level of effort. Now, is that really going to work? How well is that going to work? Maybe you attach a financial incentive. Maybe you attach a charity incentive to that. I don't know. Do not, under any circumstances, attach a playoff incentive to that, because that's no. That's the wrong way to go. It's when Major League Baseball did it, people are like, oh yeah, do it like Major League Baseball. Do people not remember how much we criticized the fact that some team had home field because of some stupid all-star game? Like the first, if the Celtics didn't have home court in the finals, let's say the Celtics win 64 games and they're 5 games better than any team in the NBA, and the Western Conference were to win the all-star game and they got home court, how happy would you be about that? I wouldn't be happy about that at all. So no, none of that stuff. I don't know what the solution really is. I like my tournament idea, but of course it's my idea. I like that idea. And I think the format of that tournament style thing would work. But regardless, it was nice to see Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown on the same team. Jaylen Brown, I thought, had a case for MVP, but he didn't get a single vote. It was all between Tyrese Halliburton and the actual MVP, Damian Lillard. Jaylen had 36 points. Tyrese Halliburton had 32. He had a bunch, like 16 in the first quarter, I believe. Damian Lillard was hitting from half court. It was ridiculous. This was a this was the jokes. The Joe Mazzulla jokes were flying. And look, you got to have some fun with it, right? The East shot 42 of 97 from 3. They didn't shoot 42 of 97 from the game, which is 42 of 97 is an actual number that some teams have probably shot multiple times this year. And for the East to put up 42, to hit 42 3-pointers under any context, no matter what's happening, to put up 42 3-point makes and 97 3-point attempts in 48 minutes of sanctioned basketball, that's just ridiculous. Lillard took 23 of them. Halliburton was 10 of 14. JB, 6 of 12. Nice night. Tatum, 4 of 9. He had a nice 20-point night. So whatever you want to say about the All-Star game, it's being said. I'm not going to pretend that was a lot of fun to watch. The shooting was fun. I mean, to see guys hitting shots and to see where Dame can hit from, just pulling up and taking like a normal, just like a normal looking jumper, and to hit it with no problem, ridiculous. But Jaylen was trying. He was probably giving like a 12% effort. But I understand these guys, they don't want to get hurt. They don't want to. Imagine the All-Star game being responsible for Jaylen not, like hurting his knee or something like that. Like, Kemba Walker did. Remember when Nick Nurse played Kemba Walker too long in an Elam-ending situation, and that derailed his career. It derailed his career. The Celtics were so careful with his knee in that season, and Nick Nurse played him a bunch, and Kemba's afterwards like, yeah, I'm fine. I wanted to play. And then the whole thing went south because it just all fell apart after that. He was never, ever the same. Now he's playing in Monaco. I think. Is he still playing in Monaco? His career is basically over. It's done. So I can't blame the guys for like, hey, you know what? Today, I'm not going to give it too much effort because it's 55 games into the season and they all want to rest. Everybody's like tired. Everybody's exhausted. So I know that you want the players to try, but at the same time, it's almost like a reverse incentive. Like you're supposed to be like the best of the best. And if you're not good enough to make the All-Star game, then congratulations, you get a full week off. But if you're so good, like, yeah, the fans want to see you. That's what the All-Star game is. It's an honor. But at the same time, it's like, well, we had a couple days off here, and then we got to be here for these 3 days. And Jaylen took part in the dunk competition, and then you only get like 2 days off after. Like Jaylen and Jayson are getting onto private planes. They're probably already on private planes by the time you hear this, and like they go from Indy to, I don't know, what's the closest beach you can get to, so they can wake up Monday, Tuesday, and have a couple of days on the beach, and then Wednesday you're traveling. You gotta go to Chicago. You got to go to Chicago for a game on Thursday. So I understand that these guys don't want to put in that much effort because, hey, this is supposed to be a little bit of a break. All right. Well, I don't know. Maybe we can fix the All-Star weekend. I'll write about it. It's going to be on Boston Sports Journal in the morning. So check that out. My ideas. So I think they're decent ideas. We'll see how it goes. Jayson Tatum got to meet Larry Bird. That's a super cool thing. And he had an interesting reaction. It's very relatable. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Today's show is brought to you by Grammarly. Now, I use Grammarly to help me through with my writing, because when I'm writing, especially after a game, it's late, I'm tired, maybe I'm a little cross-eyed. I write some sentences and I have a specific kind of style. It's very, very stream of consciousness, very conversational. And Grammarly really helps me kind of tighten up some of the, slip some different verb tenses in and all that stuff. So Grammarly helps me out a lot. It can help you out in a different kind of writing, because you want to communicate at work. You want to write the right email. You want to make sure that you sound smart. You want to sound like you know what you're talking about. You want to sound like when people can't follow the stream of thought, then you lose your audience there, even in an email at work. And you just don't want to have to explain things all over again. So Grammarly can fix your emails, your reports, your presentations. They can help you with they have an AI that's like a writing partner to help you communicate more effectively. You kind of tell Grammarly what you're trying to say, and it gives you suggestions, which is very helpful. 96% of Grammarly users report that Grammarly helps them craft more impactful writings, and it works across 500,000 apps and websites. I use it in Google Docs. I use it all over the place. So it shows up even in tweets. It'll work. So save time with one click. Go from editing drafts in hours to seconds. 93% of professionals using Grammarly Premium report that it helps them get more work done. Make a bigger impact at work with Grammarly. Sign up and download for free at Grammarly.com/podcast. That's Grammarly, GRAMMARLY.com/podcast. Easier said, done. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On Sports Today, the first ever 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube for national sports, and now available on the Amazon Fire TV app. It's in the Fire TV Channels app. That's where it's at. It's national sports, all our national shows. Sometimes Locked On Celtics shows up, and go check it out on the Fire TV, the free Fire TV Channels app. Jayson Tatum got to meet Larry Bird. There's a picture of him or video of him meeting Larry, and you can tell by the look on his face, he's like, you can see him. He's like, it's a quick conversation. Like, oh, can I get a picture? He sounds just like anybody meeting a famous person. It's like, hey, can I get a picture? And he's looking, he's like, oh, here's my guy with the picture. And they stand and take the photo. And afterwards, he was asked by Gary Washburn about meeting Larry Bird. Here's what he had to say.
Before the game, you met Larry Bird for the first time. Can you take us through that conversation? And what did you know about him besides being a Celtic legend before you met him? And what was just that feeling like pregame?
Yeah. So he was in the locker room before the game. Adam Silver and Dr. J, they were talking to us. And once they got done, I thought I was going to be able to shake his hand. I turned around and he was gone. And I remember I was saying, I was like, man, I never met Larry Bird. I've never been in the same room as him. As crazy as that sounds, it's never worked out. So Taylor, our PR girl, saw him before I was sitting on the sideline, and she grabbed me. She was like, "He's over there," and I got a chance to go meet him and tell him how much of an honor it was to meet him, and he told me he was looking forward to meeting me. So that was crazy to hear him say that. He's a lot taller than I thought he was, but obviously what he means to the game, what he means to the city of Boston and the Celtics, and he's the ultimate Celtic. So it was an honor to meet him.
That I would have kind of like a very similar reaction. I would allow myself to geek out a little bit more. I have never met Larry Bird. I've been in the same room as Larry Bird back when Orlando had their own summer league. That was a wild one because Kevin McHale was there too. And I'm like, oh my God. What do I do? What do I do? And yeah, the normal human being thing to do would be go up and say hi, but I just couldn't do that. And Kevin walked out, and I was like, oh, man. And I was at the Garden once with Kevin McHale doing a TNT game, and I never got a chance to go over there. So I may have missed my chance because Kevin McHale I think he just lives in Minnesota. He's just kind of like on his own. He's just happy to be on his own. And this is like a testament to Larry not getting out, because I've heard some like really terrible takes saying like, oh, this is a problem for it's a bad look for the Celtics that they haven't met before. Like Larry Bird, like, what are you going to do? You're going to ship him in? You're going to go kidnap him and bring him to Boston? Like he has his own life, and he pretty much just lives his own life in Indiana. And yeah, he's a kind of quiet, like low-key guy. That we've always known that. So it was good to have him. And Jaylen was like, no, I didn't get a chance to meet him. So that's a missed opportunity. Look, I got to say, you do have to take these opportunities when they present themselves. But for Jayson to grasp how big a deal Larry is, and before the game, if you saw any of that video where he was being interviewed before the game, and he didn't even answer the questions. Like, I got to be honest with you, I just met Larry Bird. I'm kind of juiced up right now. He understood the gravity of that moment. He understood, like, and whenever he passes Larry and something, or ties Larry, or breaks a Larry record, that's something that he's like, I can't believe my name is being mentioned in the same breath as Larry Bird. Like, he understands the gravity of that. He understands how much Larry Bird, you just heard him say he's the ultimate Celtic. You have to understand the history of this team, this city. This is unlike playing in any other city. I know the Lakers, once they started folding in the Minnesota championships, are like pretend like they're right on Boston's level, but the Lakers are not. Yeah, they put up a bunch of statues and they honor their greats, no doubt about it. Boston's a different animal. Boston, the city is tough. It's a place that has high expectations. Obviously, we've talked about, I went on a rant the last podcast, like, appreciate this more. Boston is just a tough place. I've said this on this podcast before. Boston in the winter, people are angry. It gets dark at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. Your job sucks. The traffic is the worst, the absolute worst. Every day you turn around, there's just a reason to life just grates on you. You just sit in your car all day. You go to work, your boss, you get whatever your work stuff is work stuff. And then you come home and it's like dark when you get up and dark when you get home. And it's you put on the game and you just want to escape, and people dive into their sports here. And the winter sports are even like, it's just tough. It's tough. And so, yeah, it's to understand that part of the city and understand the history. And when the city latches onto you, man, it latches onto you and it never lets go. Once you're in Boston. So this is a way for Tatum. Like, there's a lot of historical kind of People are waiting for Jayson to do what he, come on, buddy. You're our next great hope, and we want to see you be that. It's good to see him be this excited and this understanding of what that moment meant. Because that might be the only picture we ever see of Larry and Tatum together. And whenever Tatum passes Larry Bird, that picture is going to show up, right? Whenever Tatum scores more than Larry Bird or does something only Larry Bird has ever done, that picture is going to show up. And I'm sure someday, somewhere down the line, some TV producer, some documentary producer is going to be like, we got to get you two guys in the same room, sitting down, mic'd up, and talking for an hour. That's got to happen. But until then, and you got to get Larry Bird to agree to that, and he doesn't always agree to that stuff. This is it. So I'm happy for Tatum, and I'm happy for like Celtics fans to get this moment of like, hey, you know what? Tatum's only going to be 26. So he might play another 10 years in the league. We don't know what Tatum's going to be. We don't know how much longer he's going to be in Boston. Nowadays, no one finishes their career in the same spot. And it sucks to say that. Maybe Tatum's the exception, right? But it's very rare because at some point down the line, the Celtics are going to need to rebuild, right? 4 or 5 years from now, 6 years from whatever it is, the Celtics are going to be in that spot where it's like, we have to trade away our stars, and just like they did Paul Pierce, just like they did KG, and we've got to rebuild. And that's something that may prevent that historical thing from happening. But until then, I think this is a nice moment. This is a big moment. All right, let's get into the Jaylen Brown dunk contest stuff because that was fun. It was fun. It wasn't great, but it was fun. I'll talk about that all next. Today's show is brought to you by our good friends over at Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class exclusive Google built in is your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right in to the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Or the 2024 Nissan Armada will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA, where I'll be there this week hosting my Wednesday show, my regular spot with Jake Madison, rotating host all week long. So check it out. It's a great way to get caught up on the league, all the big stories in a fun and interesting way. Fun and interesting was the dunk contest. Now, yes, the dunk contest is its own broken little piece of AllStar Weekend. I think AllStar Weekend needs a revamp. There's no doubt about that. It needs to be redone. My overall kind of feeling for AllStar Weekend, AllStar Saturday, start with a one-on-one tournament. We'd love to see that, right? One-on-one between the best players in the league. I don't know how many of them would sign up. I don't know. We'll see. But a one-on-one tournament, a three-point contest where the first round, it's catch and shoot. No racks. Get coaches with the racks, passing those guys or players, teammates, whatever, passing those guys so they can catch and shoot. And then the second round, have them on the move, right? Have them like recreate, like fading into the corner. I want to see these guys on the move. Real life kind of three-point shots, right? Off the dribble shots. Put the racks back and have them take off the dribble shot, whatever, something like that. And I want to see the dunk contest be like a game of horse. But till then, and no props because somebody's going to get killed. My big overarching theme from this weekend, the feeling that I had from this weekend watching Jaylen Brown dunk was, oh God, just land on your feet. Just land on your feet. Oh, you're setting up a guy in a chair. Just land on your feet. Just clear the guy and don't. Oh, that first miss was like, oh, okay. He landed on his feet. Okay. So he threw down some dunks. They were good dunks, not the best dunks we've ever seen, or not unique dunks mostly. They were okay. In a vacuum, what Jaylen Brown did was amazing because it's very difficult to do what Jaylen Brown or any of the dunkers were doing. In the context of dunk contests, you know what I mean? So, but I will say, I was wrong about the dunk contest bag. I said that he shouldn't do the dunk contest because he's an in-game dunker and he's unable to, or I didn't expect him to be able to throw down contest type dunks. So I promised that I would say the Happy Gilmore line. So I will say, I don't know the Happy Gilmore line off the top of my head. I had it here and I lost it. And I was going to say it, but now I lost it. And well, admit, nope. Nope. I got it wrong. I screwed it up and I can't pause the podcast. So pretend that I said it. I had it and it went away and I can't get it back. And this is appropriate for me. I deserve that. Because I doubted Jaylen Brown and I said, don't do it. And he did it. And I thought it went well enough. He got to the finals. You can say maybe, people are saying the scores were juiced for the AllStar. I don't care. Doesn't matter. I didn't think he would have dunk contest type dunks. He did. And not only was I wrong, I'm the one that looked bad by not having that quote here. I thought I had it and it's gone. So you know what? Sometimes the comeuppance is strong. The basketball gods that I often talk about, they work even in this situation. I got what I deserved on that one. So Jaylen, the Dominique dunk, okay, it was good. He recreated the Dominique dunk. TNT didn't want to show it to us right away. They totally botched that. The D Brown tribute, Jaylen kind of messed that up because he forgot to do the eye thing until he hit the ground. He screwed that up. I thought Terrence Clark tribute was really good. That was nice. And the left-hand glove afterwards, Jaylen said he put it on to honor Michael Jackson, who, and we said, is that a Michael Jackson glove? Well, yeah, Michael Jackson's from Gary, Indiana. So there was an Indiana theme to that. So I thought that it was good. He said that he didn't practice that alley-oop dunk with Jayson Tatum. Said just kind of went hoping we'd have a better result. It went better in my head, in our heads for sure than it looked. He said that floor was slippery, the LED floor. I don't know. I'm curious. I liked the LED floor, but I don't know how it felt out there. But Jaylen, I thought, ultimately did a good job. Maybe Toppin should have been in the final instead of Jaylen. I thought Toppin's dunk was better than Jaylen's dunk that got him. Jaylen's dunk that got him past Toppin. But regardless, like I said, whatever. McClung was going to win that thing no matter what. And I thought Jaylen did himself, like, he should be proud of what he did because he did good stuff. He did good stuff. So that's it. So that's my feeling on Jaylen Brown. My number one thing I said at the top. Jaylen did cool dunks. He played well in the All-Star game. Great All-Star weekend for Jaylen Brown. Jayson Tatum had a good little showing. Nothing special, but he was there. They both walked out under their own power. Everything's cool. So that's a big win. Jaylen didn't embarrass himself in the dunk contest. Quite the opposite. He dunked well. No one's coming away from it going, "Oh, that Jaylen Brown." Blah, 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 blah. Like it's just like, yeah, Jaylen did his thing, and it was people are just upset about the dunk contest in general, which I get. And I don't know if the dunk contest is salvageable. To be honest with you, we've seen all these dunks before. It's impossible. Even if somebody does something, whatever. If someone did like 3 backflips, a cartwheel, and then somehow did a handstand that launched into a dunk, people would be like, "This is the most amazing dunk that I've seen." And then someone would do it again, and we'd be like, "Oh, yeah, it's still amazing, but the other guy just did that." Like you're gonna do it too. Do something else. We can't appreciate how amazing some of these dunks are because we've seen them all. Like go back and watch the Dominique dunk contest and the versus Michael Jordan. In that moment, that was amazing. And because it was Dominique versus Jordan, 2 of the biggest stars of the time. But also the dunks, if anybody did those exact dunks in dunk contests here, they'd lose. Those guys were getting 50s. So anyway, great weekend for Celtics fans because you got to see your guys do some cool things and they get to walk out of there and they're fine. Chicago's coming up this week. I'll have podcasts all week long, so make sure you're subscribed. And, go ahead and laugh at me in the comment section because I deserve the mocking that I get because I set myself up for it. I'm happy that I was wrong about Jaylen. Let me just say that. I'm happy that I was wrong. I'm not upset about being wrong because, I didn't want Jaylen to look bad. But I deserve all the mocking that I get in the comment section. I'll sit there. I'll read them all. I'll take it. I'm inviting it. So hop into the comment section of the YouTube page. Let me know what you think. And of course, I would love it if you share the podcast, spread the word, tell everybody. They should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.